Welcome to the Astronomy Conference Survival Guide 2025 edition. Conference season is approaching, so I figured I would make a series of videos to help you surviving through the season. Welcome back to Boring Astronomy. I'm Alessandro, your astronomer next door.
Boring astronomy.
In case you're wondering, I'm Alessandro. I've been in astronomy for the past 20 years, and I'm here to share with you some of the things I've learned along the way. So to begin with, it is conference time. Everybody's speaking about going to one conference or another, and you start wondering, should I go to a conference? Let me give you 4 reasons why you should attend a conference. To begin with, knowledge transfer. Conferences are the moment where people start sharing their latest results. You might have missed that paper. There may be a paper which just came out, and you are able to speak directly to the author, and the author is going to guide you through the process in a way that a paper would never be able to do. Plus, some people may start sharing with you what they are working on. And so you start to get a feeling of where the field is going. Networking, especially for early career researchers, this is crucial. You get to a conference, you get to know the new kids in town, your fellow students, your fellow postdocs. As I was told in a school almost 20 years ago by now, look around you. These are the people that are going to go along with you during your career. And there is visibility. You're trying to reach out to the people that you may want to work with. So if you want to impress a new employer, a conference is the place to go. And then, it's one of the perks of the business. Some conferences happen in fantastic places, and this is your chance to go and visit those places and be paid to go. Admittedly, in many occasions, you will go to this fantastic place and you will lock yourself in your room, finishing to prepare your presentation, analyzing other people's job because you got excited, but you're still in a fantastic place. Bonus tip: the most interesting conversations hardly ever happen during sessions. The best conversations happen either over coffee break or during dinner, lunch, even breakfast. You can end up sitting completely randomly with fantastic people and that you don't know. In a conference, I casually sat in front of a guy, said he was from Australia, his name was Brian. He was very nice, was very kind, we had a lovely chat. 2 weeks later, he would be awarded the Nobel Prize. So this is the kind of conversations you can have. Now, if you want to go to a conference, you have to be aware of which conferences are out there. So, which are the major conferences out there? By far, the most important astronomical conference is the General Assembly of the International Astronomical Union. We already spoke about this among the facts of 2024. In 2024, the conference was amazing, and it was the first time in Africa. Had a magnificent attendance. Most importantly, it was the first time that a General Assembly of the IAU was completely hybrid. So IAU is leading the way for what astronomy is going to be in the future. General Assemblies of the IAU happen every 3 years. They are normally massive events with 2,000–3,000 attendants. I particularly dislike this kind of events. I find them confusing and, for me, overwhelming. But it is without any doubt the place where you want to go at least once in your life. The next IAU General Assembly is going to be in Rome in 2027. Start to mark the date. The American Astronomical Society meets every year twice. There's so many, they meet twice. They meet once in early January, and another time I think is June, July, but I'm not sure. The winter one, the January one, is the important one. That is where most of the big astronomical news for the US society have made. That is where most of the students and early career researchers go do their networking. So if you're based in North America, go there. It is a terribly expensive conference, terribly crowded conference, but it's the place to go if you are in that community. On this side of the Atlantic, the European Astronomical Society meets once a year. Again, it's an enormous meeting, hundreds of people. Again, it's very, very expensive, more than 500 euros of registration fee. This year is going to be end of June in Cork. I'm going to use this series of videos to show you how to get ready for a conference. I'm going to share all the good things and bad things that you can do while preparing for a conference, especially the bad things. If you are in instrumentation, SPIE is for you, and the next one is happening in Copenhagen in 2026. If I'm not mistaken, these conferences happen once every 2 years. They're normally once in the American continent and once in Europe, with excursions in other continents. And again, is a massive meeting. Again, we're talking about thousands of participants, mostly about instrumentation. So if you are into hardcore science, you're probably not interested in going there. But if you're interested in the last developments in mirror shaping, operational telescope, building a telescope, building a detector, new types of detectors, that's the place for you to go. Then if we start getting closer and closer to your community, you probably should be aware of regional conferences. Very much any major astronomical community has their own astronomical meeting. The Brazilian Astronomical Society meets every year. The Spanish Astronomical Society meets every 2 years. The Chilean Astronomical Society meets every year. So make sure you know your community, you know your society, and you interact with it. Then there are conferences about a specific topic, and those tend to be 100, 150, 200, even 300, 400, depending on the field. These conferences, they can last a week-ish, and they normally, depending on the size of the community, they can have 100, 200, even 400 people attending. Normally you have one main room. The example is for me, was the European White Wolf meeting that I attended last year. It was a full week only dedicated to white wolves. Finally, there are workshops, which is normally are hands-on work meetings. So you actually go there to work on a specific aspect of a specific field. Those tend to be relatively limited, no more than 100 people, and very, very focused. In some cases, even with the idea of producing a white paper or some software. In any case, some deliverable. Now, with all these conferences around, how do you pick the ones which really are for you? Well, it very much depends on the stage of your career. If you're an undergraduate or if you're an early graduate student, you certainly want to go to a generic conference. Like this, you widen your horizon, you get to know people, make yourself known. So it's a good way for you to start in the field. If you're finishing your PhD, it is crucial that you go to conferences because you are job hunting if you want to stay within the business, so you're job hunting. So you need to find someone who will offer you a job. One thing is if you apply for a job and you're just one piece of paper on a curriculum, and another thing is if you apply for a job to someone who knows you already and knows that you are already a nice person, that you are easy to chat with, In other words, you have already had your interview in advance. So you want to be known. So go to a conference, go to any conference. Most importantly, stalk whoever is your potential employer and make sure you are in the same place. For postdocs and early career researchers, it is important to be in conferences about your field. So again, instead of going too broad, try to niche down, try to boost your collaborations, try to maximize the interaction with the people within your field, both with your collaborators and with your competitors. Because it's astronomy, some fields are not particularly friendly, but most fields are very, very friendly. So competition normally is light, so you can easily talk to someone who's doing a work which is similar to yours. Even as a senior, you have to think twice where you want to go. Even in my case, I consider myself a senior by now, I mostly go to conferences where I can learn something new, where I can learn something interesting, and most importantly, where I can maximize the chance of chatting with people. So I will try to avoid big conferences, and I would go to big conferences only if there's a big fraction of my collaborators going there, which is the case for this year's IAS. Importantly, all institutions, they have some travel budget. So the number of conferences that you can attend every year will depend on your travel budget. So when I was a student, I was allowed 2 conferences a year, and honestly, I think that 2 conferences a year is a good number. Trying to do 3, 4 conferences, you really don't end up having more new things to say. So at some point, even you get bored about repeating the same thing over and over. Make sure, especially if you are an early career researcher, to try to ask for grants, discounts. Do not shy away. Many conferences, they do have a way to support early career researchers. Ask. The worst thing that can happen is that they say no. But if you don't ask, you don't even get the chance. So, summarizing, go to conferences. Conferences are an occasion for you to learn, for you to grow as a scientist, learn new things, to grow your network, get to know new people, and eventually help your way through this career. In the next video, we are going to speak about how to choose a conference. This is going to be very, very important. Especially, we are going to try to figure out how not to fear of missing out in case you choose not to go to a conference. And for the time being, look at the conferences out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.